News at 12. I am UIMM. Come to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. Nigeria rejects private military firms in Africa at African Union European Union Summit. Governor Moino commends massive turnout at APC homecoming across 31 local government areas. United States President Donald Trump says he will visit China in April after a call with Xi Jinping. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We head now to Nigeria's capital, where Nigeria has warned that lasting peace on the continent will remain elusive unless security initiatives are African-led, legally grounded and free from the involvement of private military and security companies. President Bola Tinubu delivered the position at the first plenary session on peace, security, governance and multilateralism during the 7th AU-EU Summit in Luanda, Angola, insisting that Africa must own and drive its peace architecture if the continent is to overcome insurgency, military coups and political instability. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the president said the resurgence of private military actors in African conflicts complicates resolution efforts and undermines state sovereignty. He stressed that peace and security interventions must be co-created with African partners and anchored in African-led frameworks, adding that externally imposed solutions, however well-intentioned, often fail without strong regional ownership. Away from that, First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has called on government institutions, technology companies, civil society and citizens to take bold and coordinated actions to make Nigeria's digital space safe, inclusive and respectful for women and girls. The First Lady made the appeal in a message commemorating the 2025 International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, marked globally today, November 25. This year's theme, Unites to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls, focuses attention on the growing threats of online harassment, exploitation and gender-based hate. Senator Oluremi said digital platforms intended to encourage learning, connection and productivity have increasingly become spaces where women and girls face bullying, blackmail, stalking and targeted misogyny. She warned that the rise of online abuse constitutes a serious and often invisible extension of gender-based violence. Away from that, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekpo, has warned against unauthorized gas retail operations across the country, stating that the federal government would not hesitate to take action against them. The warning comes on the heels of the reported gas explosion incident at the Biodun Aladun area of Onara, local government area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, on Friday night, where 3 persons were confirmed dead. Reports indicated that the explosion occurred while a tanker was discharging gas into a retail outlet. While Ekpo mourned with the families of the victims, he warned that operations of illegal gas retailers will no longer be tolerated in the downstream sector. From the Red Chambers, the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has formally unveiled Nigeria's counter-terrorism strategic plan 2025 to 2030, declaring that the people of the country deserve to live without fear. The strategic plan was developed by the National Counter-Terrorism Center within the Office of the National Security Advisor. In his keynote address, Akpabio said the occasion was not merely the launch of another policy document, but a defining moment in the nation's journey. The Senate President remarked that every generation faces a question that history demands it must answer. In the Green Chambers, the House of Representatives has donated 20 million naira to the family of the late Vice Principal of Government Girls Secondary School, Maga, Kebbi State, Hassan Mukoko. Recall that Mukoko was killed last week when bandits invaded Government Girls Secondary School, Maga, and abducted students. Leading a high-powered delegation of the House to Kebbi State to commiserate with the families of the victims, Speaker Abbas Tajudeen urged Governor Nasir Idris to immortalize Makuku by naming the school after him. In this next report, Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi has defended his push for a non-kinetic approach to insecurity in Nigeria, saying he will lead the cause for the release of the convicted leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, if the latter shows remorse. Kanu was convicted of 7 counts of terrorism by the Federal High Court in Abuja. However, Gumi said if the IPOB leader shows remorse for his actions and pronouncement, he will be among those pushing for his pardon. Meanwhile, Gumi has been at the forefront of calls for government to adopt a non-kinetic approach to resolving security issues, especially in the northern parts of Nigeria. Believes that the country will be better off with that. Elsewhere, the Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC has declared support for the renewed call by Southwest governors for the creation of state police, urging President Bola Tinubu to use his office to hasten its establishment. The party said the proposal was timely and aligned with long-standing demands by stakeholders in the region for a more responsive security framework. Meanwhile, the party chapter expressed the support in a statement issued today by its spokesman Sheyi Oladejo. According to him, the security challenges facing the country require multi-layered policing solutions, and the time for the state policing to come on is just arrived. It's not just ripe, I beg your pardon, but long overdue. In another development, President of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Professor Christopher Puinwa, has said that the union is entering day 2 meeting with the federal government, stressing that the talks will determine whether or not lectures proceed with a suspended industrial action. Addressing journalists on the sidelines of the 2025 Harmattan School organized by Nigeria Labour Congress, Puinwa maintained that ASU's fight to protect the sector remains unwavering. He criticized the Federal Ministry of Education's repeated claims that most of the union's demands had been met, noting that government officials have quietly shifted their language. Puinwa clarified that the union did not declare any strike for Friday, but made it clear that the outcome of the ongoing talks with the federal government would determine its next steps. Back on the home front, Akwa Ibom State's governor and leader of the APC in the state, Pastor Moino, has expressed appreciation to residents for their large turnout during the APC homecoming events held across the 31 local government areas on Saturday, November 22, 2025. Governor Eno said the crowd participation was impressive and demonstrated the people's continued commitment to the progressive direction the state adopted. On June 6, 2025, he thanked elected officials including councillors, local government chairmen, members of the State House of Assembly, members of the House of Representatives, and senators, along with ward and chapter chairmen, political stakeholders, security agencies, Christian leaders, youths, women, leaders, students, political groups, and appointees for their roles in the successful statewide mobilization. The governor noted that the peaceful conduct of the events showed acceptance of the APC's message of politics of conviction rather than politics of attrition, and said that achievements recorded in the last 2 years have strengthened the people's confidence in the administration. Governor Eno reaffirmed his administration's support for President Bola Tinubu, commending the president's efforts in addressing national security and economic challenges, as well as the stabilization of the foreign exchange market. He also acknowledged the role of Senate President Godswill Akpabio in working with the presidency to resolve national issues. We move now to Africa, where Egyptians yesterday voted in the second phase of parliamentary elections in 13 governorates, including Cairo and Suez. Reports say more than 34 million people were eligible to vote in the second phase, as the first stage of voting took place on the 10th and 11th of November in 14 provinces. According to reports, a total of 568 seats in the lower chamber are vacant, with over 2,500 candidates running as independents for half the seats. The other half is reserved for political parties, while LCC will name 28 members, bringing the total number to 596. According to the Egyptian presidency, the electoral process is being monitored by various international observers, including the Arab League and the African Union. On the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has said he agreed to visit Beijing in April and invited Chinese President Xi Jinping for a state visit later next year, following a phone call between the two leaders. According to the president and China's foreign ministry, Trump and Xi, who met nearly a month ago in South Korea, discussed a range of issues including trade, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, fentanyl, and Taiwan. China State News Agency also released a statement that said both countries should keep up the momentum, keep moving forward in the right direction on the basis of equality, respect, and mutual benefit. Recall that the leaders met in Busan, South Korea in October, after which they agreed to a truce on tariffs. The U.S. decided to cut a 20% tariff in half, aimed at decreasing the flow of fentanyl. Still on the foreign scene, a U.S. judge, Cameron Curry, has dismissed a criminal charge against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, ruling that the prosecutor who brought the charges was unlawfully appointed. Judge Curry said that Lindsey Halligan, who was handpicked by Trump to bring the charges against two of his political adversaries, was never eligible to assume the post. Both Comey and James have maintained their innocence and described the prosecutions as political in nature. In response to the ruling, the White House told reporters that the facts of the indictments against Comey and James have not changed. Still to come in the news. Bayern Munich striker Kane releasing new Bayern role before Arsenal clash. Do stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. It's still the news at 12 and now to the rest of the news stories. In the world of business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) has declared a profit after tax of 5.4 trillion naira for the financial year ended 2024, marking one of its strongest performances since its transition into a limited liability company. The Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPCL, Bayo Julari, announced the financial results during a press briefing in Abuja. The latest figures represent a sharp improvement from the 2023 financial year when the company posted a profit after tax of 3.29 trillion naira. The 2024 profit reflects a 64% year-on-year increase, signaling the impact of higher production volumes, cost-cutting measures, and enhanced operational efficiency across its assets. On our health news, the government of Japan, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, WHO, have donated $500,000 in commodities, equipment, training, surveillance tools, and emergency preparedness supports to strengthen Nigeria's cholera response. As part of the supports, life-saving commodities valued at $951 were delivered to the federal government through the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Abuja. Speaking at the handover ceremony in Abuja, the WHO representative and head of mission to Nigeria, Dr. Pavel also said the donation came at a critical time as cholera transmission risks remain high in areas with limited access to clean water and sanitation. He noted that the supplies will be deployed strategically to hotspots identified through surveillance and risk mapping. In the world of sports, Bayern Munich striker Harry Kane returns to North London on Wednesday to face old rivals Arsenal, arguably in the best form of his career after dropping into a deeper position. The England captain has become a more complete player at Bayern, shouldering more creative and defensive duties. The 32-year-old form is a big reason for Bayern's remarkable starts to the campaign. Meanwhile, the German champions have won 17 and drawn one of their 18 games in all competitions this season, with Kane playing every match. Still in sports, 10-man Everton held on for a rare and quite amazing Old Trafford 1-0 victory after Idrissa Gueye was sent off for striking teammate Michael Caine after just 13 minutes against Manchester United. In quite incredible scenes, England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford had to hold Gueye back as he took exception to a few choice words from Caine after Everton had defended a United attack. Reports say Gueye got near enough to slap Caine on the cheek. The action triggered a red card from referee Tony Harrington. According to reports, Guye's red card was part of a calamitous opening for the visitors, who also lost keeper Seamus Coleman to injury just 10 minutes into his first league start of the season. On entertainment news, Nigerian musician and activist Folarin Falana, popularly known as Falz, has called for public hearing over the failure of the federal government to equip the military despite the huge amounts budgeted for ammunition yearly. Falz made the call while reacting to the security situation in the country. Falz urged Nigerians to call for emergency public hearing to address the strategy to defeat terrorism, rumors of an ill-equipped military, and how Nigerians will be kept safe. And that's all we have on this bulletin. The world. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News at noon. I am Uyai MM. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.